and today I'm going to make shortbread. It only has a few ingredients. My daughter made it over the summer and I just loved it, and so I got the recipe, and let's get started. I'm going to start with the dry ingredients first. This particular recipe does not require a lot of ingredients, so that's another reason why I thought, hey, this is going to be a fun one to make. All right, so the first thing I need is 2 cups of flour. So in measuring out flour, I'm going to level it off. So I got a big scoop, and then I'm going to take the back of a butter knife and level it off. 1, 2, and then the next ingredient is confectioner's sugar, also known as powdered sugar. So this is kind of unusual because not a lot of recipes require powdered sugar. So I keep my powdered sugar in this nice storage container. It makes it way easier than trying to measure out of the bag. Same with all my other ingredients, but this in particular makes it a lot simpler. So I need a 1/2 cup of this. So I got my 1/2 cup out, and I'm going to scoop this like this, and I'm also going to level the sugar. And I'm going to put that in there. And then the next ingredient is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now normally when I use salt in a recipe, I do less. But since this is a new recipe to me, I'm going to use the full 1/4 teaspoon. Just because I'm not sure if I do less, if that will be okay or not. So I'm going to put that in there. So far I have 2 cups of flour, a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just take a fork and I'm just going to stir this up a little. And then I'm going to add butter, which I have set on the counter to soften. And I need a cup of butter. Now on your butter, you can see that's a 1/2 cup, so 1/2 and 1/2. Oop. There we go. We have a measure. Okay, 1/2 and 1/2 is 1 cup, so 1 cup of butter. And as I said, I set it out a little while so it is softened. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to put in a teaspoon of vanilla. Oops, a little bit more than a teaspoon of vanilla, but that's okay. All right, now I'm going to go over to the mixer. So I will be using a dough hook because I'm making dough. So this is a dough hook. You don't want to use this type. That's good for like cake. And you for sure don't want to use this type because that's good for sauces, whipped cream, and that sort of thing. Egg whites. Okay, before I start mixing, I'm going to go over the ingredient list one more time. It is a cup of butter, 2 cups of flour, a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of vanilla, and that's it. So it's great because you don't need to buy a lot of stuff. And I have preheated my oven. It's still heating up. You might be able to hear it in the background to 325, and now it is time to start mixing. Let's see if I can get a good angle. There we go. All right. I'm going to mix it very slow because it's looking like it wants to fly out of there. Not quite mixed yet, but I just kind of want to show you the progress we're making here. So I'm going to scrape the edges. Just make sure it's not sticking. Mix it up a little. I believe my daughter told me that she used a pastry blender, a handheld pastry blender, to mix the dough when she did it at her house. But I kind of prefer to use the mixer, so we'll see how long it ends up taking. Okay, so I've increased the speed, as you can see, and it's starting to really come together nicely. Okay, so I had to do that for, it felt like a while, but it was probably about 5 minutes. All right, so now, as you can see, the dough has come together very nicely into a ball. Okay, so here is the dough, and see how clean it came out from the bowl. So it's definitely ready, and it's nice and soft. And I have an 8x8 casserole dish, and I'm just going to put it down, and I'm going to just flatten out my dough. And I'm just going to try to be consistent on how thick it is, which might be kind of tricky. Okay. So I'm just going to press this down. Hope everybody's having a good day. This is a cool recipe because it doesn't require a lot of ingredients, like no egg, which is nice. I didn't even have to, because there's so much butter in here, I didn't have to grease the pan, which is nice. Okay. Because I have it in glass, I can kind of look and see. It looks pretty consistent. Okay. Almost done. And then we're going to take, my daughter told me how to make this look pretty. So let's see if I can follow her directions. Otherwise, I might have to have her go ahead and help me out. I'm going to just dry off my hands a little. Okay. So let me adjust the camera. Get out a regular size fork, and I'm just going to go like this, and make a design. And I'm going to have her check it. See, I don't know what you do when you get to that part. Have her check it, and if it's not quite right, then I might just have her help me out here. See, I don't know what you do when you get to the bottom here. Okay, so I'll continue to do this, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it doesn't look quite as pretty as when she did it, but I think it'll look nice when it's all done and it's baked. Okay, so as I said, 325 for 20 to 30 minutes. We'll check back shortly. Okay, so I set a timer for like 11 minutes, which is almost halfway. So let's check and see how we're doing. Okay. It smells really good. Not quite done yet. So I'm going to set another timer for about 11 minutes and we'll see. My daughter lives at a lower elevation than me and has a different stove than I do. So I'm just going to watch it really careful because everybody's stove is different. And if you live at a higher elevation, sometimes you have to cook things just a little bit longer. I never adjust the recipe. I just adjust the time that I cook it. So we'll be back shortly, but it is smelling good. Let's check it again. And it's looking pretty close. I'm going to just pull it out for a second so I can get a better look at it. It's starting to brown a little. I'm going to say, I'm going to look at the bottom. It's not quite done yet. I'm going to say maybe 3 more minutes is what I'm going to try. So I'm going to set an alarm for 3 more minutes and keep a close eye on it. Be back shortly. It smells like it's possibly done. And I think it might be. Okay, I would say I think it's done. All right, So I will go ahead and pull that, and we will taste test it soon. It smells delicious. I need to cut this when it's warm, but right now it's hot, so I'm going to wait a little bit until it cools down slightly. Okay guys, I thought I was filming. I took a very sharp knife and cut this, and then I have a very small spatula, and I'm just going to pop it out and put it on the plate. And you are supposed to cut it when it's warm, not hot, so I let it cool down a little. And I'm hesitant to put it on a cooling rack just because it might be okay on a cooling rack. But I'm just going to put it right on here. I don't think this is going to last long at my house. So I'm just going to continue to do that, and then very shortly I will do the taste test. All right, so let's see how many I ended up with. Okay, there's a lot of pieces there. It's very rich because of all the butter, so you don't want to overdo it on the eating of these. And if you're going to do a crowd, you definitely want to double the recipe. All right, so here we go. Just going to kind of give you an idea of how it looks. And time for the taste test. That was good. Very buttery. A real flaky texture, very, very delicious, practically melts in your mouth. Quite delicious. I think if you make these, super simple to make. I think you'll be very pleased. This little piece packs a big flavor. Absolutely delicious. You must use real butter. I hope you enjoyed this video. For those of you who subscribed, I really appreciate it. And if you don't, it is free, and I hope you do. Please like the video, share the video, and have a great evening. Thanks for watching.